Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight, but I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was two sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour Grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town, for he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath
and hanging their stockings. He snarled with a sneer.
Then he growled with his crunchy fingers nervously drumming,
"I must stop Christmas from coming."
For tomorrow he knew all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then, oh the noise, noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas scene, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least, and they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of his Who's Christmas scene,
the more the Grinch thought, "I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming, but how?"
Then he got an idea, an awful idea.
"I know just what to do." The Grinch laughed in his throat,
and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a hoe.
And he chuckled and chucked. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
And the Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there's none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch?
No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramble-shackle sleigh and hitched up old Max.
Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up."
No, that's not the end. And the sleigh started down.
Because you said, since we only have 2 people.
No, you still have to do the whole play.
You
said you could choose a shorter play.
Oh.
But you can't do a half a play. Just keep going. Just keep reading like you've been doing.
Well, we don't have the rest on there.
Oh, you
We
don't?
just have our document.
Listen, you have.
And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark and quiet snow filled the air, and the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square,
"This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed.
And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa couldn't do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue where the little Who stockings all hung in a row.
"These stockings," he grinned, "are the first things to go."
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums, and he stuffed them in bags. And then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He climbed out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
"And now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree."
And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. But when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove, He turned around fast and he saw a small little Sidney Lou, who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of the bed for a cup of cold water.
She stared at the Grinch and said,
Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so quick, he thought up a lie. He thought up quick.
Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on the tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop. My dear, I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went up to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stepped the tree up. The last thing he took was the log for the fire. Then he went up to the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls was nothing left but hooks and some wire, and the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 12:15, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings, the wrappings, 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crippen. He rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it.
Poot-poot to the Who's. He was the Grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're waking up now. They're waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down and Whoville will cry, boo-hoo. That's noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand up to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low. Then he started to go, but the sound wasn't sad. Why? The sound sounded merry. It could be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at the Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing, without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas for coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same, and the Grinch, with his Grinch feet cold in the snow,
stood puzzled and puzzling. How could it be so? I came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day, and that the minute his heart didn't feel so quite tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.